And welcome to the very first episode of Diandra The Co-Host. I am Diandra Reviews. I slurred my name. Let me do that again. I am Diandra Reviews. My website is diandrareviewsitall.com, where I review entertainment for the light it gives. I review the newest in film, television, music. I interview artists, and I try to figure out what they are saying about humanity. Whether it's negative or positive, the point is I want to see if it's elevating. And I started this series. If you see one of my previous videos, I go into my backstory, why I wanted to start this series. And the very first episode, I chose to have as my co-host for Diandra the Co-Host, River Hooks. She's an old friend, a music publicist, and an excellent artist. Before every interview, I ask artists to send me their top favorite conversations to have. Think about it like if you're at a dinner party and you're like, okay, this is what I like to talk about. This is where I thrive. This is where I look cool or funny or smart, or at least my own interest in the conversation really starts to peak. Topics River wanted to discuss what it was to be a female producer in the music industry, the frustrations and prejudices that brings along in and of itself, and the immense pressure of having to be an influencer today. I mean, you can't just be an artist, you have to be a brand, a business. There's no such thing as I'm a creative. You're a creative business, and it's really hard because not everybody's into that. It's not easy to constantly put yourself out there and be authentic. It's a funny thing that we have to expose ourselves to be commodified, and then it's as if authenticity sells, but in selling authenticity, it oddly becomes inauthentic. Yes, that's a really deep thought, super philosophical, and we get into that in this episode, amongst other things. She loves RuPaul's Drag Race. That was one of her favorite topics, and I could talk about that show forever. We discuss true crime, telenovelas, and we discuss her newest single, You've Lost a Friend, and how this pandemic inspired this anthem because, well, I think we've all experienced friendship loss in general, but what this pandemic did was it kind of cleared out the real friends versus the fun friends, the people that were only going to be in your life if they met you during a happy hour. It's a really light episode. You will learn a lot about what it is to be an artist in this day and era, and hopefully what it is to be a better person, which is the purpose of my website, diandrareviewsitall.com, and kind of the purpose of River's music. It's not only about making yourself feel better, it's about making the world feel better, and in that way, that's why we wanted to look back at what inspired us to love music, to love it and make it our life because we felt so healed by it. Ooh, that's so deep, but I swear we laugh. We laugh so much. You're going to love this episode. This is Diandra the Co-Host. I am Diandra Reviews. My co-host is River Hooks. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to another episode of Diandra the Co-Host, brought to you by Diandra Reviews It All, where I review new entertainment according to what it's trying to say about society. It's all positive. It's all love and light. And today my co-host is River Hooks.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Oh my God. Love Diandra. She's the best.
Thank you. Introduce yourself, River. Tell us about yourself, your new single.
Okay. So I'm River Hooks. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, audio engineer. I do it all. I'm just trying to be that girl that represents other females in the music industry. So there's a little girl out there who wants to produce. I'm going to say that she can do it.
Real life live us on down, real life live in the same town. Real life no weekends, got 2 jobs, my friends stay partying. A weekend come through, stop saying I'm tired of inviting you.
And I have a new single that's coming out next week on February 26th called You Lost a Real Friend. And I also just put out my first debut EP last October called 1111, which I'm super proud about. It took me a year to work on that project, so I'm so happy that it's out. And I've got a lot of collaborations on the way, working on so much music. So I'm just really excited about this year because I think there's going to be a lot more music from me. So I'm ready
Yeah.
to pump them out. Yeah.
Well, what inspired You Lost a Real Friend? Did you actually lose a real friend?
I have. I feel like a lot of people have lost a friend, or like I feel like in this song it's about like me as the real friend, and you lost me as your real friend, because like you have all those, and I've never really heard a song like that before. I feel like we always hear the song about like either losing a friend in the terms of dying, or losing a friend in terms of just like I don't know, like I lost a friend or whatever. But it's always so sad. And I kind of wanted the song to kind of be like an anthemic song of like, yeah, you lost a friend, but it's okay. We're in this together. Shit happens. A lot of people, especially during this time in the pandemic, I feel like I've lost so many friends because, we're not really talking all the time like we used to, because there's not that like bond of going out to places with them. You're not seeing them at the bars, you're not seeing them or whatever. So like I feel like this time is just like really trying to find who those real people are. And so I think this song was just a really great way of just being like, it's okay if you lost a real friend. Or if you are that real friend and you lost that person, it's okay. Wish them best of luck. And there's no time for negativity. Just
Yeah.
celebrate it. Celebrate it.
It's kind of crazy. Like, I was going to ask if you made this during the pandemic because I totally, totally agree with you. I think
Hmm.
that in this time, it made me wonder if, like, in 2019, we were all just faking it
Yeah.
because I feel like I had a whole bunch of fun friends, but this pandemic made people sad and they didn't want to show me that or they didn't want to see
Hmm.
that from me. And I'm
Hmm.
wondering if that's where this song came from, that kind of realization we were all just for fun. Where was the
Yeah.
real?
Feel like a lot of people were like, "Hey, you want to go hang out with me at this bar on Friday or Saturday?" And it was like I would just constantly see those people at those spots and nothing else. You can never build more. It's always like those acquaintances or whatever. But I'm that type of person. I'm just like I just want to hang out with you. Like I don't care if we're just like talking, walking on the street, just talking. So I just feel like the song is just about like find you need to find those friends that really speak to you. You can be authentic with yourself, they can be authentic with you. But I think when you hear the lyrics, I'm so overt in my lyrics that I think you'll a lot of people are going to relate to them.
Gonna do when they come back though? That's my thing, because they're gonna come back and they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, like what happened to you?" They're gonna
It's
say that. What happened to you?
Yeah, I feel like that always happens, and like I'm cordial with them, and we can talk, but like I feel like I know where I stand, and I know where they stand, and I gotta keep
Mm,
them from afar because I don't want to put that negative energy back in my life again. Because I know what it's gonna be like for me. Because I just don't have time for it. I think we're all getting older, and we kind of just like I'm tired of high school. I just don't want to deal with it.
that is a very Game of Thrones answer.
you know, yeah,
Like I know where I stand, Cersei.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
you're
yeah.
a Lannister and you don't pay your debts. Boom.
Bye.
Okay, now I
What a
Game of
shame.
Thrones geeked out.
Oh my god.
I do love Game of Thrones. I really, really do. But kind of you you send me your favorite topics because that's what we do here. We talk
Yeah.
about the artist's favorite topics, and you're like, I really do just work and
Yeah.
making music. Like I have no life beyond that. And that
Yeah.
was such a curious thing to me because I feel like when you make your greatest passion your job, you just
Mhm.
kind of like get enveloped by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel like what is your break then? What is your kind of thing for you that you're not trying to make money out of? Because you turn music, your love, into work.
I'm so used to just like me time and being by myself that like I'm okay with that. So like watching a documentary. I love watching documentaries, so
Mm.
I'll watch those. TV is a good time for relaxation, bath time, you know, time for self, self-care. So like stuff like that I love to do. And I think it does help with writing and taking a lot of ear breaks from my music. It's so good. So like even though I am constantly working on things, I like working on other things from like if I have a certain project I'm working on, I'll probably have like several other projects I'm working on just so I'm not like so focused on one thing and not feel like I'm just like zoned in and I just have to focus on this. I just like to be able to like have my freedom and do what I want to do.
Watch documentaries. I'm like, what kind of documentaries? What's a recent one that you've
Oh,
watched?
well, Netflix has been putting out those like serial killer documentaries, so
I knew it.
I'm so fascinating. So like I've watched like the Night Stalker and the Cecil Hotel one was super interesting. Like I would totally recommend that to anybody just because I like weird stuff and like weird movies like that too. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just always like fascinated in like people's conspiracies.
So
Like
is
interesting to hear everybody's like tinfoil hat conspiracies these days about these things. And I'm just like, I don't have time for it. But like it's just interesting to watch people get so invested into something that they really don't have any answers for. Like even like Unsolved Mysteries, that show that I watched was like
I ate it
it
up.
was it was so good, and it's gonna be unsolved anyways, but I still watch it.
And you have a theory too. You're like, by the end of
Yeah,
the episode, you're like, I know who's the husband. I just
yeah,
know it.
exactly,
I know
exactly.
it. I know it. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Well, spoiler alert for Cecil Hotel.
Mhm,
Don't go for the next 2 minutes if you're listening to this.
mhm.
But I get through the whole thing and I'm like, this could have been one episode.
Yeah.
This could have, it didn't need to be 4 episodes, like three
Mhm,
episodes of everybody talking and all these theories. And you're like, oh, snap,
mhm.
what's going to happen? And then the fourth episode happens and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
so it was a mental health issue. Well,
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. An everyday girl struggling with, probably daily life problems like the rest of us. And like
Yes.
you just made a 4-page documentary, on the same thing where it's just like, okay,
It was a
yeah.
little like, oh, all right. Well, okay
Yeah.
then. We did.
But
We
they
went
threw
through a lot.
but they threw in all these other conspiracies like the Lisa Lamb, like the tuberculosis thing that they mentioned but never talked about, and the whole movie that related to it. So I was like, okay, so you just threw all these things in for one episode and then never talk about it at the last episode.
Yeah. They're
It
like,
was
we're
yeah,
good. We heated
yeah,
it up. Now we
yeah,
don't cool it off. That's it.
yeah.
That's it. I mean, I think,
Capitalizing off of her, that's the thing.
yeah,
And now everybody knows about the Cecil Hotel, so there's probably a bunch of crazies that just want to go because they found about the story and they need to go and check it out themselves. So
yeah, yeah.
capitalizing
I
off
mean,
of it.
I did think that it was like I was like, is she being haunted? Because there is something very
Hmm.
haunting about it. So I was like, is she seeing a ghost or
Yeah,
something? That was my theory because it
yeah,
was pretty freaky,
yeah,
especially the elevator stuff.
yeah.
I was like,
I was like, is she like on LSD? Like she's smoking something beforehand, especially knowing the fact that they were on Skid Row. I was like, and she's like this young girl, like they were saying, so like
maybe she's
experimenting in LA or something. So it's just like all these questions that you have watching these shows, and I don't know. I like to think when I'm watching sometimes too. So I think that's why I've been putting all these documentaries on.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it does give me though shame a little bit because I'm like,
Hmm.
should I be so into murder?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's what I was telling my boyfriend. I was like, are we like making murderers watching these? Like, like I was watching The Night Stalker and he was like, oh, yeah, this guy was a student of serial killers. I was like, we're kind of promoting all these people. Like, are we going to create more serial killers watching all these documentaries? It's like interesting to think about that.
I there is always those arguments that like violent movies inspire violence. You know what's my problem with that is I can see a car accident and not think, you know what, I want to crash my car.
Yeah.
Like it depends on the person. Like
Hmm.
I watch these documentaries and I do feel bad. Like the Vanishing at Cecil Hotel, that one made me feel. I think that the ending was kind of a little anticlimactic, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I was like, wow, I didn't know that bipolar disorder was that Like
Mhm.
I didn't know it was that. Like how
Yeah.
she acted, how she got. So you do learn, and I think
Yeah.
like things like Dateline have made me definitely like I have to make sure that if things go wrong with this man, he doesn't kill me.
Yeah.
It has it has reframed how I date. I just want to. I just
I hear you. There's all
like
those like HBO shows that came out. Like I don't know what they're, I forget what they're called, but I watched two of them. It was basically like you're living with this murderer and you just never knew one bad thing that you did, and then you're gone. I'm just like, who am I dating? You start to like question everything in your life.
yeah, yeah, and it's always like the 20-year anniversary mark, like that.
Hmm.
John and Kate were married for 20 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then like the friends come in, it's like they were the happiest couple.
yeah.
They really loved each other, and
Did you see their Instagram account? It was like popping. Like, no.
John was so nice. I till this day I don't believe John did it.
Yeah, yeah. Best friend. He could never.
He could never. And then like, but then Dateline. Obviously, you're like John remarried after 6 months, a 22-year-old.
Yeah,
We know,
he had 7 girls on the side that we
come
didn't
on,
know
John.
about.
Come on,
Yeah.
John. We
Yeah.
we know the truth, John. But
Absolutely.
but yeah, those are the things that I definitely they do make me wonder about who I'm dating, how I date, and yeah, it is kind of scary to be betrayed like that.
It is. You never know. It's always the person closest to you. That's what it seems like. The trend is like, oh, it's that, I don't know, that uncle or or that, I don't know, your husband. You just never know what they're doing when they're like, oh yeah, I'm just taking a phone call real quick.
I
It's just like you just never know
know,
now.
but we're getting dark. We're getting
Yeah.
dark. Watch Dateline. But
Watch it.
you know, how did you get into music? Bringing it back into the music. I know one of your favorite topics is how you got into music.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've always been doing music. I talk to my mom, like my parents, a lot about this because I'm like, when did this actually start? Like, because I've done it for so long that I've kind of almost forgot because it just feels like music is in me and I've always just done it. And, my parents always said I gravitated to like the music instruments when I was younger. Like, we had a guitar and piano lying around. So I guess, again, me being the only child, trying to entertain myself and a way to express myself was always through music, and my parents always had music playing in the background in the car. I'm a very diverse person, so my family always played different types of music, so I was always interested in that. And I think as I got older, I started asking. I wanted to play guitar and piano by the age I was like 10, I think 10 or 9. And so once I started playing that, I started really getting serious because it was a way for me to like fully express myself. When sometimes I couldn't like say it into words, I just write a song about it. And
Yeah.
I just love the fact that I can be able to get things in my head and put it out musically, and that I can connect with other people. And I think that's super important right now for me. It's just like connecting with my audience with my music, because I think everybody has something they have to say, and I think it's just a way of us figuring out how to say it, in the medium you're trying to tell your story. And I think for music, it's just always been me. So I really started producing, I think when I was 16 in high school. I got a computer, had a garage band, started playing with that. And by the time I went to college, I really started taking it seriously because it was just something that I left home at like 17. Didn't know a lot of people, and it was just cool to just be in my room and just really be with my thoughts and like write and create. So I've just always been making music, I feel like.
Yeah. No, I mean it's your outlet. It's life.
Yeah.
Music is life. People are not kidding when they say that quote.
Yeah.
Music
Yeah.
is life. But you are Mexicana and Latinas.
Yes. Yes.
What is a Mexican artist that I hope that you've nosedived into the Juan Gabriel pool.
Like I feel like when I was younger, like Juana's for me was like one of the things I remember always singing. Like Calle Trece would be in the car and stuff like that. Selena. I mean, my family was always putting on different music, whether I understood it or not. I was still singing it in the car, and I think my grandma loved that about me because she was like, "You spoke it so well," just like Selena. She didn't really know what she was saying, but like I think I just kind of absorbed that. And I mean, I still love listening to like Spanish music. Like anytime Jesse Reyes has a song in
Yeah.
Spanish, I'm like sucking that in because
Yeah.
I just love it. It's beautiful.
Thinking about how Bad Bunny was on SNL, and somebody put this meme kind of like, I didn't understand a word, but I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
and the caption at the bottom of while he was singing was "sings in foreign language," and I'm like, come on, we couldn't interpret, we couldn't say "sings in Spanish" at least. God bless you. God bless you,
Yeah.
SNL. But yeah, I mean, I learned Spanish through listening to Spanish music, aka Selena, and telenovelas. I
Yes.
don't know if you're into those.
My abuela is. For sure. For sure. All the time.
Are you
You
trying to
can't talk to her.
say I'm a
No, no, no.
90-year-old woman?
No. I'm just saying that my 90-year-old woman loves her shows. You cannot talk to her when those shows are on. She's zoned in. I mean, they're so overly. I mean, I can see why people love it. They're so dramatic and like they really entice you and they like pull you into the episode every time. So, I mean, I think it's a great way to learn Spanish too because you're like it's something that you enjoy doing. You can just watch it and learn at the same time.
you know, I do think I was thinking about it because I love
Mhm.
Spanish soap operas so much, and I was thinking
Mhm.
to myself, there's just one ingredient. Like every story is the same. It's a poor girl who falls in love with a rich guy
Mhm.
who's probably engaged or married to a crazy woman, or at least a good woman who goes crazy because she suspects he's cheating, and then he
Mhm.
actually starts to cheat.
Yeah.
And in the
It's a
end, he just
cycle.
ends up with the poor girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same story, just in different ways with different actors, and we eat it up even though it doesn't teach us too many good lessons about love. We still
No, but
fall for the
it's a
romance.
good story,
But
and you're
yeah,
used to it. So you're just used to the characters already. So you're just like, I need more of it, and the show is on, so I'm gonna keep on watching.
it's the Disney effect. Like when you actually look at the
Mhm.
Disney princesses, like the Little Mermaid gave up her
Yeah.
voice, Beauty and the Beast got kidnapped,
Hmm.
and you're just like, this is horrible. Don't teach little girls this, but I will buy the DVD.
And they always have the little characters, the animal characters, as
Yeah,
their sidekicks that I love all the
just like
time.
me, just like me.
Little doggy.
But you are doing a lot of collaborations.
Yes. Yes.
What is that like for you? Like you're just getting more and more collabs. Like what what is it like? What have you learned?
Ah, it's funny because last year I was complaining that I didn't have any collabs coming my way. And now this year, I think with the whole EP has really helped me get all these collaborations because people are starting to realize who I am and the fact that I did produce this EP by myself. They're like, okay, like we can take her a little bit seriously. She's because I was already doing collabs beforehand. I think I was more focusing on that. But like I think now that people are starting to hear my sound,
Mm,
it's been a way for them to understand who they're tapping in when they hit me up to collab with them. They're like, oh, I know what her sound is, and I think it'll work well. But it's been great. I love learning like different tricks when it comes to productions. It's a great way for me to think, when I make it big, I'm gonna manifest that. So I'm just gonna say when, when I make it,
manifesting.
manifesting all the time. When I make it big, it'll be good when it comes to studios. I'm just gonna be very adaptable, and I think it's really cool to face challenges with different people, different sounds. But I'm constantly learning through production when it comes to like working with other people. Like things we might be doing the same thing, but it might be totally different, and maybe their way is a little bit easier, and I can learn from them, and they can learn from me. So it's really cool working with a lot of different people, especially when I'm working with them from like all over the world is really interesting because like working with this guy from Poland named Michael Porter, Villain, who I've done collabs with is from Romania. And then I have these people that I'm currently working with, Lord Snow and Orange Bloomer for the UK. And then I have Kate Brunotz, who's a really close friend of mine who I'm doing a collaborative EP with. So I just got a lot of cool people that I'm meeting, and it's cool to connect with people across the world. And we don't have to feel like we're like these lone wolves doing things by ourselves these days. It's a great community of people.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely like, ah, wow, when you learn from another producer,
Yeah.
like this, especially like an easy trick because you did like 20 steps
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
get to where they were going. You're like, oh my God, it was just a plug-in. All I
Yes.
needed was that plug-in.
Yes. Always plugins. I love learning about plugins, or getting free samples or getting free plugins is great. But yeah, it's just really cool to work with people because like, I'm figuring out shortcuts, way to make my life a lot easier when it comes to producing because I'm still learning. I think it's really cool to work with other people because I think producers are always wanting to learn more and we can only do that through working with each other because we all bring something different and there's things that like I want to take from this person's sound and I don't really know how they're doing it, but it's cool that I can be in the same room with them and ask them those questions one on one instead of just trying to figure it out on my own. I think music is so different. We're always genre bending, all the time. So I think it's really cool if you have that little plug in to throw in to spice it up. I'm also just really love textures and like
Yeah.
and sounds and I think it gives it a nice texture when you have like a different vocal preset on it or a chain or whatever you want to call it.
I will say that, like, in terms of what I've noticed in terms of reviewing artists, is that there is kind of like, at least there's more defining your music emotionally, like
Mm.
sad hip hop or
Yeah.
anxiety pop, because
Mhm.
they have more problems with being defined according to a genre than they do obviously an emotion. So I
Yeah, yeah.
feel like the adding the emotion makes them a little bit easier about
Mhm.
getting the genre, because
Yeah.
sometimes they don't want the R&B or they want the sad R&B.
Yeah. I feel like we're just so genreless right now. I feel like every time I listen to these playlists on Spotify, I'm like, is this really like the genre that you're stating it is, or you're just choosing it as your opinion? And I think it is all everybody's opinion. Like, and we have
Yeah.
all these like pop genres now, like hyper pop, is a big thing that's coming on now, which is really cool. But it's just like, I just don't know especially with me working as a music publicist, when I do work with other artists, I'm like, what exactly am I trying to fit you into? Because there's so many, realms of genres these days that it could be anything. You can have like alternative pop and hip hop and EDM all in one song, and it still makes a great song. But it's just like I don't think there really is a genre now, unless you're really trying to focus in on that genre. You're that
Yeah.
type of person. Yeah.
Yeah, entertainment journalists and critics. I think that the younger critics and the younger journalists are totally into the life without a genre. Like
Yeah.
if they plug
Totally.
it in, it's because that's how we were taught. But
Hmm.
we're kind of like we're used to that genre list, whereas like older critics and
Hmm.
older journalists are like, "This is country folk,"
Yep.
and you're like, "There's just like a twang of the guitar. There's not really. I
Yeah.
think that's country folk music."
They picked all the mainstream artists. Like I've seen like articles where they've been like, yeah, this girl sounds like Charlie XCX, the 1975, and Avril Lavigne, and you're just like, what? Like I've actually seen those three paired up in one thing, and I'm just like, I don't hear it. I think she sounds like herself, and I think if we just start looking at the artists and basing it off of their sound, I think that's all we need to talk about. I don't think we need to start basing people from I mean, you can if you want, but I just don't think
Yeah.
it's necessary or if it's correct if by doing it, unless the artist is saying like, I was influenced by this, so it's probably going to sound like that. Then you can throw their name in because you know that the artist was influenced by that artist. But I don't think throwing names because they're mainstream just to make it seem cooler. I don't understand it.
We enter this crux because we follow older generations and how they
Hmm.
talk.
Yeah.
And that it's so funny you mentioned that because I was at a party back when we could have those.
Yeah.
And it was like with this, uppity major magazine with like a lot of major publicists, and they were making fun of artists who send press releases where they're like, I'm Billie Eilish and Lana Del Rey,
Hmm.
you know? And I felt really bad because, first of all, there's no. I know there's rules to how you present yourself, and there's an art, but we act like there's a specific formula and that everybody knows it. And then
Right.
if somebody follows it, we kind of punish them. Like we can't act like you were saying. That we haven't done. She's a Charlie X with with a splash of 1975. Like
Hmm.
I see that a lot in terms of people's writing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I felt really bad because they were making fun of artists who do that, but I can't say that I haven't seen critics do that, or especially older critics kind of geared towards that frame of making this one artist a combination of, he's Bruno Mars and The Weeknd
Yeah, yeah,
mixed
yeah.
in.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I get it a lot too. Where when I had my EP, it was really funny because my EP is very. I want to say it's very genreless. It does have a indie alternative pop sound to it, but there's a blends of other genres in it. And I would get like Mountains was like it's almost R&B, and I'm like, there is no R&B in my song Mountains. I don't know if you're trying to base it off of my ambiguous ethnicity, and you're just like she's R&B, but I think people just try to put people in a box, and I think these artists today are like, I don't want to be put into a box. I want to do whatever mood I'm in is what I'm producing. I want to do whatever I feel. I want to make whatever I want to make. End of story. And they just want to place you into these labels and categories, and I think we should just stop because it's not happening. At least the younger generation is saying that. So
yeah.
I think the older generation needs to get that picture and stop comparing us to all these other people that they think that we are, because we are who we are.
But no, but that does happen, especially like with black and brown artists. This kind of, he's hip hop, and then you go listen, and you're like, this isn't hip hop.
Yeah,
This is closer to punk, if anything. Like, where did
yeah,
you get hip hop?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like I
it
want to
does
be like
happen.
Doja Cat. I want to be like so like versatile. Like I love when she did that MTV Awards and she made her song wow, I'm just blanking right now. But like it was an alternative version of one of her songs where she
I
was
think
like
it was a
and then
say so.
Say
Like,
so, yes. It was. Thank you. And it was just so good. It was so good. And I love that versatility where you can just like turn a song from pop and make it almost like super like funk and just like really hard. And it's just like, I think that's what artists need to do today. They need to not put themselves, unless, like I said, unless they want to be placed into a box, then, do you. But like, I think it's really nice to see a lot of these artists, I don't want to ever feel comfortable in what I'm doing. I want to challenge myself. And I think a lot of artists, in order to grow, we have to challenge ourselves. So tapping into other genres, even if it doesn't something that we want to do, I think just to try it out is really awesome. And I think we'll learn from that, and it'll help our music even more.
yeah. I think your example of Doja Cat is perfect because I've been following her for a while, and she always felt like an internet artist for me
Hmm.
in terms of somebody who just perfectly understood the internet
Yeah.
and learned how to maneuver her image and sound according to that world, because the internet is everything.
Hmm.
Like, she
Yeah.
understands going viral.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like move, like Bishop McCall, like and it's sad to say that's how she became really like viral. I feel like because she was making music beforehand, and I
Yeah,
know she said it in her Genius interview where she was like, I wanted to make something that was like this in order to put my foot out and like say, here I am, look at me. I had to do something so outlandish for people to take me serious in my previous work and the work that I'm putting out. And it's hard that we have to like as artists think about that. We can't just focus on the music now. It's all about like TikTok, if you're a TikTok on TikTok or not, or like whether you have all these Instagram followers. It's just really hard that we can't just you hear all these girls like, I want to be an influencer. They don't want to be a teacher, a doctor, whatever.
yeah.
They want to be influencers now because that's what they see, and it's just sad to say. Social media has really taken over.
But it is kind of crazy in terms of it shows what an image based society we are. And I
Yeah.
was reading how the biggest songs are parody songs.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that Doja went that route as in terms, especially as a TikTok star and somebody who understood what it means to go viral, because
Mm.
parody songs do the best. And I
Yeah.
find that interesting in a world that everybody wants to be an influencer. The biggest way to break into that world is through a joke.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think like my friend Ken and I, we always have these like Tuesdays or actually just weekly discussions on how to scheme in the music industry, because it feels so fake and so not authentic anymore when it comes to like all the music that's being putting out, because it's just like it's very memey. And then it's just like that's what's getting the streams, or these like very memey songs. Like the fact that I was listening to not Charlie XCX, it was Big Frida, 303, Rebecca Black, and Dorian Electric did a song which was a remix to Friday. And it is, it's just like 10 years later and it's still going, it's still this viral movement, but it's even progressed even more until today. And it's just like, I think that's what people are focusing on, is the meme aspect. If you become a meme, then hey, you did
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Backpack boy flossing, traveling the world. It's like, why am I putting all this effort and trying to make some good music when I can just, wear a crazy outfit like a cow and, stick up French fries up my nose,
Yeah.
to finally, make my name. And then once you find me, then I can start doing what I want to do and be authentic. It's just sad that we have to go backwards to go forward.
Wow, that's such a powerful way to put it. Once you find me, then I could be authentic. But you
Yeah.
have to find me through a joke, through a parody, through an
Yeah.
image.
Yeah.
What a world. I
It's
hope
hard.
this pandemic makes us more authentic.
Yeah, I hope so too.
My face rejected.
Yeah.
My hope. My face was like, no. Towards the final topic, which kind of, it's so crazy. It kind of does connect to this whole idea of influencers and glamming it up. RuPaul's Drag Race. We're major fans. We're major fans.
Mama Ru. Can't love yourself. How the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen? That's literally my motto for the rest of my life.
I never understand, what is it? She already done had hers.
Yeah. She already done had hers. So many. Reading is fundamental, Then you have, what is it, charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Like, it's just all these things that Rue has said, and it's so powerful, and you can use it in your everyday life. So I love the show and what it stands for.
It's such a quotable show. That's why it's so, like, you could just pluck every time you watch something. Like, Vanjie. Who wasn't doing Vanjie? But
yeah.
But who are you pulling for this season?
Simone, Candy Muse. I like Candy Muse because she reminds me of Vanjie. That personality that I love, that I've been missing. I'm trying to think. Olivia Lux is cool. I do like Olivia Lux, but I'm starting to see she's a little bit shady.
I
don't know. I'm like, okay, like, especially. Oh, and Utica. Utica is amazing. I love the oddballs of like RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, she's very Evie Oddly to me, or like Sasha Velour type. So yeah, I mean, I really like all of them. It's really hard to like choose, because each week I feel like, some days they're really great, they're on their A game, next days they're not. But I'm waiting for the snatch game to really know.
Ooh, I mean, Simone, Gottmik, Olivia Lux, and Candy Muse are my top 4.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I do love that Olivia Lux is a polite diva.
Yes.
I love that she's like the kindest, shadiest person in the room. Yeah. And I love that Tina Burner picked it up.
Yes, same.
Because I do like Tina Burner a lot, but I don't like her style. I think she's fantastic.
Yeah, I can agree. I agree. I like the Tin Man outfit. The Tin Man outfit that she had on was incredible. And I think sometimes with the colors, because I know her colors are like orange,
yellow, red, orange.
Yeah, red,
fire.
The fire, like Ronald McDonald,
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be cute, sometimes it's not. And I do think, like, if I was Michelle Visage, I'd be like, wear something different. I want to see more.
I know. Michelle Visage is always like, you're a one note, darling. I'm like, tell her she's one noting, please.
Yeah,
Inform
please.
Tina this.
Yeah.
But I think that she's fantastic. She has her style and she's like perfected it, but it's so particular, and I'm not always into it.
Yeah, I agree.
Versus the other ones like Gottmik, Candy Muse, Olivia Lux, Simone. I like them always.
Yeah. They're always on their A game, and they like. I feel like Gottmik for me is always just like I never know what she's gonna do, like ever, like
Yeah.
at all. I'm just like, oh, like that outfit that she had on yesterday. I was obsessed with it. Like I was just like, I want to wear that.
Yeah.
Everything that she wears, like I want to wear. Like I want to be her. So
Yeah.
it's just really cool. I love it. This
Got
season's amazing.
Gottmik and Simone, I think, are some of like they just have such a natural charisma.
Hmm.
What is it? Charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. They just have it.
Yes,
So, like every time they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do good," and then they like wing it and become the best. I'm like, "You're such a liar.
I
Stop
know.
acting."
I know. I don't know. I feel like they just got a lot of confidence, you know? And I feel like Simone, I don't know. I was a little disappointed yesterday when I watched it because I felt like she had that inner saboteur that, it happens in this show all the time. You always see it. So I feel like she just got into her head this round because she was just like, oh, I can't dance or I'm not the best singer or whatever. So, but every other week, I mean, she's been amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I love that the one where she was like boxing in the boxing outfit. Oh my god, so
That
nice.
long do rag that was like a
Yes,
cape. Fab.
the
Absolutely
Tiana
fab.
Taylor vibes, you know. I
Yes.
love it.
Well, wrapping up the interview, then
Yeah.
we've gone through it all: influencers, drag racers,
Yeah.
telenovelas. We've discussed it all. So, what are your final thoughts? What are you feeling? Wrapping it up about the future in your music. You want to play the Bowery. You want to play MSG.
Yes.
What are your feelings? Oh, I see a cattail.
Yeah, that's Scout. That is
Yeah.
Scout. Yeah, I mean, I think right after, like, when the world opens up, I definitely want to start performing live because I have all
Mm,
this music coming out. It really sucked that I put out my debut EP and it was during a pandemic. It was good because I wanted to release it, and then I wasn't gonna be that person like some people that I know who are like, I'm not gonna release music because of this pandemic. I'm like, we don't know how long this is gonna last, so I might as well just put it out and a lot of people are at home, so and a lot of people need music right now, so just keep on putting out the music. So I think for me, I'm just going to keep on focusing on the music right now while that is all that I can do. If there are live performances, I did do one over the summer, which was just over like a Facebook live concert lineup thing, which was cool. But it's also just, it's sad that I can't perform right now. So I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully, doing a tour would be amazing on the East Coast or something. We'd love to do that. And I really want to write for other
yeah.
people, produce for other people, and let it be my main job. That is what I want because
Mm.
music is all that I love to do and care about. So if somebody is watching and wants somebody, also Diandra wants to write for people too. So
Yeah.
like, so like, hit us up.
Reach out. We're ready. We're super talented.
Yeah.
One of the best producers out there.
Oh, thank you.
River
Yeah.
Hooks. Such
Yeah,
a good artist name too.
Thank you.
River Hooks.
Thank you. Yeah, for everybody who wants to know, it is my actual name. So, like, that's the funniest part. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people are like, "Oh my god, what a cute stage name!" I'm like, it's on my license.
Yeah.
It's and birth certificate.
Your mom had a plan. Your mom had a plan.
She
She was like, I
did.
gotta
She
give
did.
my baby a star name.
She did. She did.
Yeah.
But yeah, but also working with a lot of females. I want to really like, put a showcase to like what females can do and what we can represent in the music industry. So I'm working on, building a collective maybe of some producers because I feel like I haven't seen that in a while. Like I haven't seen a lot of collectives of female producers. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough, but
No,
I really
that's
want to just,
brilliant. Like
yeah, I really,
a collective of female producers and songwriters.
yeah, I really want to do that. So we can like have a platform where people who are, film producers, males too. We're not dissing them because they're great.
Diss
But
them. They
yeah,
diss us, diss them.
I know. But I think it'd just be really cool to have like I just really, really want to represent females in this industry because it's really sad that we're not really represented on the same platform or scale as these males in their studios because we can do it too.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
about time that females run the world, like I said.
Real life live us on down, real life live in the same town. Real life no weekends, got 2 jobs, my friends stay partying. We can't come through, the sun saying I'm tired of inviting you.
All right, that was it. That was the very first episode of Diandra and the Co-Host. brought to you by Diandra Reviews It All, where I review and interview artists for what they offer the world. Again, have to plug in the website, but that wasn't a bad episode, right? That was a good taste. That was more fun than a dentist appointment. I think we could make that fair assessment. But in all seriousness, I feel that River and I came to the conclusion that when it comes to making your passion your career, it's never easy, but I think we made our passion our career because just nothing else fit. I think that there are amazing musicians that just, they see it as a hobby, or they don't, if they made their passion their livelihood, they wouldn't be as passionate about it. It depends how you connect to your passion. I think for those of us that have decided to make our passion our career, it takes a lot of strength and a constant relearning of how you love. You need to love your passion better. You need to love music more, or more richly, or deeply, because you have turned your greatest joy into work, and that means that there will be times when it does make you unhappy, especially when you are facing prejudice, because people don't see that your joy should belong to you because of your gender, your race, your class, your whatever amongst the prejudices that are unfortunately out there. We're both strong. We're both open to creating and learning and collaborating. And I think that is a must for women in the music industry, believe it or not. I think that though we will be more wounded, we do have to be more open, because it's what helps you get back up. It really is. Not shutting down, not shutting out. I think you need to be more perceptive and intuitive and selective. And part of getting hit so much does help you gain that perceptiveness and that selectivity. But all in all, your openness is a way of protecting you, because you just have to get back up, try again and try again and try again. And River has said it before. She's learned a lot through the men who scammed her, or the deals that just weren't exactly a deal or an opportunity for her. That being said, this was also a really fun interview. Clearly, we are Team Simone, Team Gottmik, Team Candy Muse, RuPaul's Drag Race. I hope you are watching. And yeah, it was a really, really fun, light interview, and there are many, many more to come. They get really deep, they get really serious, they get really philosophical, but all in all, they are lighthearted and fun and funny, because again, if you want to understand the world and if you want to grow as an artist, then you need to always approach even the darkness of this industry, of this world, and yourself with lightness. That's the only way you'll elevate. So I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more episodes. It's going to be so good, I swear.